Hi everybody, it's Danny here from Handmade Papercraft. Today I am using a rubber stamp from La La Land Crafts. This is Cowboy Luka. He did come out a little while ago. I missed out on the first lot and then he was sold out, and then thankfully I got him in the last sale, so very lucky there. I will have him linked up underneath the video and also on my blog, so if you'd like to purchase him, I'd really appreciate if you use my affiliate links, and that helps me to purchase extra stamps and goodies to share with you guys. And so this is a brand new stamp, so I'm using my Tim Holtz red scissors to trim the stamp apart. Just make sure that you're using straight lines. It makes it a lot easier, and it means that you're not cutting into that second layer of the rubber there. So I did have this sped up for you because otherwise this video would be going forever. It's already just over 14 minutes, so yeah, so I've got all this sped up for you. So like I said, these are the red scissors from Tim Holtz. They are my go-to when it comes to cutting stamps. So I've taken off the backing sheet. I find it a lot easier to cut him without the backing sheet, and then you can adhere all of those stamps back on where they came from. I have my mini Misty here, and I've just got some scrap white cardstock that I had that I purchased quite a while ago. It's quite textured, so I thought it would be great to be using pencils on. And I will just trim this cardstock down just to fit the stamp so that I can put it into my Misty. Don't forget you need to remove that foam layer from the mini Misty because these are red rubber stamps. They're that thick they are. So I've just trimmed that down to the size that I need. I'm just feeling that textured cardstock to see if there was one side that was more textured than the other, but they're much the same. So we're going to slide that into the Misty, just moving my magnets out of the way, making sure I keep them far apart. I have been pinched many of times with magnets because they magnetize to each other. So just getting everything aligned, popping in my other magnet. I do need to stamp this image out a few times. Like I said, it is very textured cardstock, so I'm going to stamp it out about 3 or 4 times just to make sure that I get a nice crisp image. It's nothing to do with this stamp. If you were to stamp it on just normal white cardstock or blending card, it would have stamped perfect the first time. It's just because this is very textured cardstock. I'm just using some Memento Tuxedo Black. This is my go-to when I'm using pencils, also when I'm using Copics. I'm not using anything fancy. I will be just using some blending solution that I bought from my local art shop, and I know myself that it won't smudge this ink. Otherwise you can use other inks. So like I said, just stamping him out a couple of times just to make sure that it's nice and crisp. Once we've done that, I do actually end up stamping him out a second time, but I've just cut that out of the video, so we don't need to see it twice. Putting all my Misty back together, putting away all of my bits and pieces before I make a mess. I'm a clean as you go girl. I've pulled out my Prismacolors here. I purchased this pencil case from eBay a couple of months ago, and I think it's great because I can fit all of my pencils in there for each pencil company. So all my Prismacolors are in the one pencil case, and I've got them all sorted by color. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start by coloring in. What are we doing first? I think we're doing hair first. All right, so I'm just going to start with a very light layer. With my pencils, I'm going darkest to lightest. So normally with my Copics, I'll lay down the lightest color and then go from there, but pencils are a little bit different. The pencil sharpener that you just seen was my eye orbit. I will try and get that linked up as well. It is my go-to for sharpening pencils. It makes them super sharp. It is battery operated, which is fantastic for people like me that have got arthritis in their hands. So we're just going to work our way through and blend all that out. To begin with, I actually wasn't going to use a blending solution, so I don't use any of that, but I will go back and do it all. Excuse my papers on the right hand side there. I forgot that I was doing a video, and normally I have all this sitting further away so you guys don't see it. This is what I made up to write down all of the products and pencils and markers and whatever I'm using as I go, so that I remember to link everything up when I'm done. So I'm just working my way through getting all of this, all the dark areas in, going back in and darkening up certain sections, and then going back through to the lightest pencil, I should say. All right, so that's his hat done. I'm just going to go in and do his boots. As you guys know, I don't have any formal training when it comes to coloring, so Sometimes I'm just winging it. Other times I actually sit there and try and work out where the shadow areas would be. Today I am just winging it, so don't send me any nasty messages. It's really not necessary. I know that I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to my coloring, and you know, that's the fun of coloring sometimes, is to be not perfect and do it just the way that you want to do it. Adding in a little bit of cheek there and getting all of that skin tone blended out. I will try and get all of the pencils that I use listed on my blog. I don't know if I wrote all of them down, but let's hope that they're all there. So I've got my pencil case standing up at the back of my desk there so that I can flick through and grab the colors that I need. I'm just going in and giving him some nice denim jeans, and I colored his belt buckle in using the gold and some yellows. So here I am adding all of those layers in. Right, so we're going in and coloring all of his little jacket. And I'll add some light grey to his shirt as well, so we can add in a little bit of tone. You know, we don't want to be completely stark white, because a white shirt is never white. It's always going to have some sort of shadow areas. Going in and colouring in the little red bits there, and then going back and making sure that I colour that robe. Alright, so here's where I decided I grabbed my Odorless solvent and we're going to start blending him. So I've got some paper blending stumps and just a nail file. You can use some sandpaper, whatever you've got, but this is what works for me. My paper stumps are dirty, so I'm going to give them a quick file before I start laying down my colours. And it also points it up a little bit, and then I just carefully start dipping it in and start blending out all of the colours. Being very careful not to pull too much colour in anywhere I shouldn't be, which I do end up doing later by accident when I'm colouring his, I don't know if it was his jeans or his jacket. I accidentally pulled some of it into his arm, not meaning to, but I was able to fix it all up. There you go, I just grabbed some of that blue there, so I had to try and fix that up. I had a lot of fun colouring with pencils and blending it all. It turned out really cool. You know, it's always nice to mix and match what mediums you're using and play around with a few different things. So just going through and now starting to blend all of his hat. And just working my way around. I'm just blending in like a circular type motion and pulling all of those areas in. And just adding a little more as I go, just to keep making sure that my blending stump is all moist and is ready to blend. So I just had to be really careful to not pull any of this out into his shirt. And then finally just doing his shoes. And then I remembered I hadn't done his jeans yet, so we're going to quickly do his jeans. The jeans were my favourite part. The colours just blended so well together and it looks really cool. So getting everything all finished up, that's him all done, packing away, making sure that I don't spill anything, and then I realised that I've got the little red areas on his jacket, so I've just gone back in and done that. And now we're going to fussy cut him. So I've swapped scissors. These are my EK Success Cutter Bee scissors. They have a super sharp point, and I love them. It's what I always use when I'm doing fussy cutting. So just remembering to make sure that you're moving the cardstock rather than the scissors, and that will give you that nice smooth cut. And this is really thick cardstock as well, so you've got to be really careful. Alright, so he's all done now. This is the original stamp. And now we're going to put a card together. So I've grabbed one of my pre-made card bases from Kucha Creations, and I'm going to use one of these sentiments from the stamp set. This is the Howdy, and we're going to stamp it onto some of the same white cardstock, just being very careful, make sure it's nice and stamped out well. I'm cleaning up my stamps as I go so that I don't end up with any ink anywhere. And then I've just trimmed that down just using my Caterpillar Pro trimmer. I'm just using some cardstocks from my scraps. I didn't open up any new sheets for this card, which is really great. I love using my little scrap bucket. So here's some pictures of him all coloured up, and then we're going to move on and put the card together. Alright, so I've got some chocolate brown cardstock, so I'm going to use that as my bottom matte layer, and then we're going to bring in some craft cardstock, which I'm trimming down here. I do apologise for the light reflection. It's very bright in my card room today. So I'm just going to play around a little bit just to make sure that I get lots and lots of layers in as much as I can. All this spotted paper is also from my stash. And I'm going to run through some star dies from my favourite things. This is the star stacks. I'm not sure if you can still purchase those or not. I'm just going to run them through my big shop, and then I'll come back and we'll start popping out all of those little bits and pieces. I'm going to run through with some of this other brown cardstock. It's different to the ones that I've already used. And it just indented, because it was only thin paper, it indented into my my cutting plate, so I just had to use my scissors to carefully get that off. So I'm just playing around with these stars because I wanted to try and get a few in. Alright, I'm also going to grab some white, again this is just scrap cardstock, and I've just run it through my Big Shot just using a Lawn Fawn stitch circle. And here I've got my EK Success paper crimper. I didn't have it all on video, but this is the first time that I'd used it, so it was super fun. You just need to change the crimper rollers depending on whether you want a big crimp or a little crimp. So I was glad to nice and finally use a product that I'd purchased and sort of hoarded because I wanted it so bad, and then I pack these things away and forget that I've got them. Right, so I've laid all of those stars up. I'm just using some Helma acid-free liquid adhesive, and then we're going to go in and decorate the inside as well. I decided just to add a number on. This is actually a card that's going in my stock, but it just needed to be finished off with a number. So I'm just using my scissors just to pop that number out because he didn't want to come out of the die. And I just used some scrap black cardstock for that. Grabbing my Helma acid free again, and I just had another spread star there that I wanted to adhere as well. I am just about done. I'm going to quickly decorate the inside of the card just using those same layers that I used for the front, and I'll also add down just a little rectangle of copy paper so that people can write on the inside of the card. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.